new study says national parks have air pollution as bad as some of the country's biggest cities. The study says the air in the Smokies is worse than the air in Dallas. When pollution is high, the number of park visitors goes down, but park rangers in the Smokies say the air has gotten a lot better.
WBIR 10 News reporter Cole Sullivan shows us how leaders in the park keep track of the air quality.
The study says the Great Smokies National Park has more ozone than the city of Philadelphia, but an air quality expert here says that data doesn't tell the whole story. In the woods of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park,
this is a study site, a research site.
Jim Renfro is visiting an air quality monitoring station.
When I got here, air quality was not good.
He's been the park's air quality specialist for 30 years.
It was bad and it was getting worse.
Back then, park visibility was sometimes as low as 9 miles.
Couldn't see the park, say from Sevierville.
Much of that pollution was from coal-fired power plants that released particles into the air.
We're downwind of where a lot of those emissions are.
And that caused problems beyond just the haze.
What goes up kind of comes down and gets into our soils.
Renfro says in his time here, the air quality has gotten a lot better, in part because of new EPA regulations on power plants.
And that's had a huge impact, even visibly, on haze levels have come down.
He says the study that puts pollution in the park on par with Philadelphia doesn't take into account this progress. It measures from the early 90s when pollution was at its peak.
Millions of tons of sulfur and nitrogen have been reduced.
And that helps tourists trying to take in the views.
The average typical day is where you can see green mountains and blue sky, when that was an exception back 20 years ago.
Renfro still keeps close track of the air in the park. 7 monitoring stations like this one record the ozone levels around the clock.
Every second of every minute of every hour of every day.
To make sure the fresh, healthier air doesn't go anywhere.
That's the challenge, is don't want to get complacent.
While there are still low visibility days here, Renfro says there are many more days where visitors can get a clear view of these mountains. Back to you.
And that expert says the quality in the park and the quality here as far as air is pretty similar. So if it's a good day in the park, chances are it's a good day down here in the valley.
We're going to talk